We are gonna paint a Deathwatch Space Marine today. Deathwatch are really fun. It's a really intricate army to paint because you get to do a really cool scheme, and then all of your guys can have little conversions based on different chapters. We did some back in the day in 2016 or 17 for the Astartes charity project, some charity thing. And that's how we did them back then, so I'm gonna just like explain. We start on a thick black base coat, but our black is pretty solid here, so now what we're gonna do is start on a mix, and our little mix here is gonna be about 2 parts black for 1 part skeleton bone. The best way to do black, it's super easy, and it will almost never look gray because, well, we're not using gray really, which is the downfall of doing black usually is as soon as you put gray in it, it stops being black and it looks dark gray. There we go. We're just going to go from the top down here, and then so we're going to keep a lot of that good clean black, opaque black, flat black, whatever you want to call it, in the recesses, but most of the top parts are going to be lightly shaded. So you see, so nothing too crazy, right? Like when you look from this side, it still looks black, and this looks a lot like Corvus Black from Games Workshop. I just realized that it was very similar, but you can still see some of the black, some of the actual. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 parts of this little skeleton bone. So, now obviously this is better if you do like a whole, having a much harder time. See, this is a better technique to do with like a lot of models, because then you end up wasting a lot of. But we got this one. We got like a stream enthusiast here. It came clutch, and I was looking for Deathwatch plates, and it was like, yeah, I have plenty of those. So now we got our mix here. Now this is much lighter than before, so we're gonna have to be a little bit more careful. Now we're really only from the top down. We're giving almost no angle to where we want to highlight. I'm gonna ignore the gun because it's gonna be silver and red, so we're really not keeping any of this. We're going to keep this as is, so you can see now we get like a good gradation, and what we're going to just save, so just keep this color, this weird of like, I don't know, 70% skeleton bone, 30% black. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our null oil. With null oil, we're going to do a glaze on our entire model. So not like a super heavy coat, just like a black, just like one even thin coat on everything, and this will take away some of the grayer tone on our model. We don't want them to be gray. Try to do basically every surface before it has time to dry. The whole arm here, but again before it dries. Like we want to keep darkness into the recesses and the darker areas. So this ensures that there's still a lot of that black through. Back, power nap, ready to hobby. So we're going to set this guy aside to dry here. Now, the good thing is we don't need him to dry that much because, first of all, we're not repainting. Second of all, we were very light with our shading. It's going to be dry very quickly. What we can do while we wait is start on the silver, because the silver is really areas that are not done. This is kind of a little debate going on around as to whether or not it should be just the silver or the full arm, because apparently this changed at some point in the lore, or it changed for something. Now this model is not glued on its base. That's why it's kind of moving around, so it's throwing me off a little bit. It just adds to the challenge just a little bit. If you're not really happy, or if you don't want these like bold highlights, just do the wash. Do another pass with the wash. It's gonna be fine. So we're gonna keep working on our silver. So now we're gonna add shining silver here. Shining silver is the best highlight color. It's a light silver. It's amazing. And we're going to add this right now because we want a clean silver again. So we're going to highlight everything. We could just do the little fancy arm, but we're going to do the entire thing. We got it out. Might as well use it properly. It's that big ass arm. Come back here with maybe a slightly bigger brush, and then we're going to just go with null oil again. So we can be pretty generous here. Soaks up all that wash, and then it just like brings out all of the details. Tool. This is the best like $20 I ever spent in the hobby. I hate drilling with a passion, and I wanted to do an army with them, and it required so much drilling for these barrels. Just bought this little drill. This is like, that's how out of shape it looks like. That's because it's like 15 years, but it still works like a charm, and I wouldn't go without it. Oh, this is such a ball-in tool. I guess that's one thing I found, like, in the hobby that I really enjoy more, and I didn't get fully until I started doing it, is like, every time there's something that, like, really sucks that you're doing, there's usually something to make your life easier, and then it's kind of up to you to either, like, find it or buy it, and this for me was, like, just bought this little drill. This is, like, that's how out of shape it looks like. That's because it's, like, 15 years. Still works like a charm. Wouldn't go without it. I guess that's one thing I found, like, in the hobby that I really enjoy more, and I didn't get fully until I started doing it, is like, every time there's something that, like, really sucks that you're doing, there's usually something to make your life easier, and then it's kind of up to you to either, like, find it or buy it. This for me was like this is a $20 drill, and like, I don't want to buy that, but then how many hours did I save, and like how much trouble, like, if I didn't have this guy here would have a drill barrel for. Okay, all this is because I needed this guy here to start drying. That's why, that's all of this little speech was because I needed this guy to start drying. Now let's do scroll here, so we'll do Zandri Dust. This is kind of important to pick, like, kind of generic colors that will work well with almost everything, right? So don't put like a super yellow color on there or a super light color, because then once you add like your chapter details, then it kind of does not really fit with everything. So I like having generic medium toned color for everything. Even if this could be almost white, I'd go for a little bit darker, just because this is the kind of the mid-range. If I had the whole army, I'd want all of them to have this, that none of them would look weird, right? Like, it makes no sense that this guy would have these purity seals and then the white scar would have like a different set. Ultramarines would have a different set of purity seals. So it's kind of up to you. Like, some people don't like these little kind of highlights in the black. I don't mind at all. I think I usually prefer like a smooth, but you know, this is really up. So this is fine here, where I think we're gonna leave it like this because that's what the previous tutorials. So we're going to take a Grox Searchade. A Grox is fine, because we don't want to use red, because red would still keep it like super vibrant, and that's not what we want. What we want to be vibrant are these little shoulder, not the rest of the thing. We want to keep a bright silver and bright chapter symbol. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to pick something, pick yellow, and then we're just going to add a little bit more highlight to the eyes. Numero uno. So yeah, all these vents we want to start on black, and then we're gonna add Stegodon scale green, or any kind of like bluish, darker bluish, Incubi darkness, Stegodon scale, dark reaper, any of these colors. It will mimic the, kind of this little like rubbery, and overall they're gonna give us that like feel. And now if you want to, you can then shade these black, and that will again bring back the black, and it'll also add these little striation on them. If we look like very close to that one up top, you see there's no like line in between because we just shaded everything almost evenly. Now once we add the shade, now with the shading, all of these lines are going to come back. Now obviously it's all, as it dries, all of these little lines are going to be black. You gotta save a step because you have to be like super careful highlighting them, because then the shading is going to, like, on one model it doesn't look like much, but if you're doing like the whole army, which is like 60 something guys. Well, Mike, first of all, 14 months is amazeballs, so thank you very much. Second of all, we have some dead guard close by. Okay, we can get them for now. So let's do the brown. Here's what we have just a little handle, and then like tactical pouches. We need to upgrade this pace eventually. We made a ranged shroot bomb, man. And this makes it so that this little like very like steep highlight. This little guy here, technically this is the Deathwatch bar, but now what makes these models interesting here is not the actual Deathwatch, it's what we add around it. So what we're going to add for this guy here is a Space Wolves, as it was voted. So we'll start with Scrog Brown here, and then again this is for the, you know, the customized part of our guy. We're choosing Space Wolves. Had we known, you know, before the stream that this was a Space Wolf, we would have had it like, you know, wolf belts. We sent a really great squad this year. Yeah, I tried to look it up, but I don't. Orangey brown. So to start on a yellow color, then we're gonna add our Flash Gets Yellow. Now we're gonna actively blend this in, and we could do this with an airbrush as well. Just get an even lighter color up top here. like so. We're gonna leave this guy a little chance to dry here. Maybe we do one shoulder plate as well in this color. Base coat of that yellow. Yes, oh yeah, exactly. And then yeah, if you're doing yellow, you can base coat with purple or with pink, and that gives us like a really nice base coat. So now this is another kind of so we're gonna take Seraphim Sepia. Okay, you could use yellow if you you know, the Cassandora yellow if you want to. This one's gonna tone down a little bit that brightness. So now this is another point of contention, let's call it that way, amongst the internet as to whether or not the trim on the plate should be black or should be the actual chapter's color. Now we can obviously add some shit. The camera is having really hard. I thought yellow might be fun, but it's just like with white, it's got a hard time figuring it out. So what we can do here is take our Scrag Brown and then just do just a little trim. Now, even with the super brightness, you get to see it. On our guy here is a base. Now the base, again, the trick for this base is the same as for the model, is we're going to take a bland kind of base or a muted base that fits anything. So that whatever color we add on there, it's always going to fit on our Marine. We're going to do the trim here in Rhinoxide because that's how that army was painted originally. Again, you can do it black or whatever, something that you like, but I think a darker anchors. Guys to be like super angry at me. I was watching him do it, so I did it myself, and then I cut myself. Now you owe me $1 trillion because I'm suing your ass. Nobody ain't suing me for this. Alright. Boom! Nailed this little guy here. We can even add some more highlights to the silver, and hopefully the picture here is going to show the darkness and lightness a little bit better than this camera that we still haven't fixed for some